All right, I want to share something about leadership today that I think is very important, and something that I did, about 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago now, maybe 5, 6 years ago now, was changing our vocabulary. There's a lot of power in changing vocabulary, and the science behind that, or the spiritual and science behind that, is when we change the words we use, it changes our approach. Why? Neuroscience shows that when we change that word, it triggers a different set of memories, and when it triggers a different set of memories, subconsciously you take action on a different foot, not your normal right foot that you normally walk with, right? Because when you walk, you normally take that first leap without even thinking about it. So when you get that first thought or that first idea, that's your right foot forward. So how do we step out of the paradigm? How do we step out of our past and lead with the left foot, which is changing our words? So something I want to say today that I did by changing some of my words are, I'm very mindful of the word I know. I'm gonna let you think about that for just a few seconds there. I'm sure your brains might be turning right now. You might be asking, well, it's just a word I use, it doesn't mean anything. But be very careful, because that word sends the energy when you're communicating to the other person, a lot of subconscious emotions too, right? I know. The word I know is very, how I say, arrogant. It's saying your words are not important. It's saying that you are, your cognitive dissonance is already blocking you from listening. It's saying, hey, you know what? I don't need to change. It comes from a place of, it's a very reactive nature, but it's a very bad habit. That word I found after analyzing it and after meditation, that word should be prohibited in our today's society, I believe. At least I changed it from my universe. I stopped using that word, I know. Even the best practice is, even if we know, is to practice the art of listening and still not over-assume. Those are the two things that generally creeps in. The assumption, which is the story we tell ourselves, that made-up story from, from the ego, from the subconsciousness. Every time whenever something arises, we create this story in our head, and we kind of go, well, this person said this, and this, and I know what they're doing, and I know what they're thinking, and then we just go on this long tangent in our back of our heads, in our minds, and next thing you know, we're so worked up emotionally because we've already made up the story that we believed in already, right? Because the mind believes what it visualizes and it sees, period. It doesn't lie. So when you dream, you wake up, it feels so real. It's technically the same thing. The amygdala brain is actually in charge of that. We make up this thing the story in our head of what we already assume that they're thinking or actions or why they did it, and that actually gets us worked up, and we actually believe something that is actually not true. So if we're not mindful, we do that. Actually, everybody does that every second of their lives. I noticed that, just observing the world. It awes me. It amazes me. It's like, wow, like people have so much stories that they truly believe in, So the word I know comes from that part of the brain. It's very reactive. That means we're not mindful. That means that we're trying to prove something. We're not willing to listen. We're not open. Our chakras aren't open because we're not receiving. We're blocking. So the word I know comes from a place of arrogance, and it's very distasteful. And the moment someone says that, I stop talking because I understand mechanically, cognitively what happens in the brain already. So there's really nothing I'm going to say that's going to get into their head, because their cup is full. And my cup is filled with the water that I'm trying to share, and you can't fill it because their brain cognitively and their cup is already full. So once somebody's cup is full, you can't pour your water in there. It's physics doesn't work that way, science doesn't work that way, engineering, all that. Nothing. The subject of water being full in a cup, just there's nothing that can go in there, not even air, right? So, wanted to share that perspective with you. The word I know, and changing your vocabulary to starting today, being mindful of the words you're about to say, trying to catch that in between connection of, wow, I was about to say that. That's amazing, the reactive nature of us, and practicing the mindfulness awareness will help us cultivate that practice of catching ourselves of what we're about to say. The words are just about to come out, the emotions we just felt after seeing, hearing, or even thinking that thought. So I think that's a very powerful practice that would change our lives and the people around us especially. So I hope this changing vocabulary, changing the words you use is a practice that you adopt. It's a framework. It's of mindfulness, and it goes into leadership as well too. It's a very rooted thing, but if we don't change the roots, then everything that grows will only be the fruits we don't want. You know what I mean? So I hope this video gave you some perspective and shared some and helped you reminisce some of your own memories and thoughts and things of that nature. Okay, and continue to lead yourself, and continue to lead your team and your organization. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.